Welcome. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a piece of work that I'm involved in at the moment. I'm working with a coach, John Patrick Morgan, JP, and we are in the middle of a big piece of work called the Creating Perspective. So the Creating Perspective works on the following basis, a little bit like the idea of manifesting in your life. Like, you are ultimately responsible for all of the results that you produce. Now, that might seem obvious, but to me and to many people, it's very easy to overlook the fact that we are creating all the time. We're creating the good, we're creating the bad, we're creating the positive results, the negative results in our business and in our relationships. So, one of the things that really attracted me to this work, actually, initially, was the idea that it's underpinned by love. It's underpinned by love, by self-love, by love of others. And that sense of self-love, that sense of self-acceptance, and that sense of love for others will greatly influence who you are being, who you are showing up as in your business and in your relationships. And who you are being is the most important element to understand straight away. So what did I do when I first came into contact with that understanding? I went through all of my past social media posts, my videos, my coaching work, anything that was online, and I asked myself, who am I being? Who is that guy? Would I buy from him? Some very interesting stuff came back, and I'm going to set an exercise today, and my suggestion is that you do the exercise, and when you've done it, you look back over your past content, if you like, if you're a content creator, and you ask yourself the same question: who am I being? Who am I being in this content? Because ultimately, you are what people are buying, and more specifically, who you are being is what people are buying. Okay, so this process, JP refers to it as the Abracadabra process. Abracadabra meaning I create as I speak, and it comes in two parts, and I'm going to give you the first part today. And I'm splitting it up in this way because it's pretty powerful stuff. I just think it will work better if I make maybe two videos rather than one. So, one of the things that you need to do when you're getting into this work is that you need to sort of ground yourself, you need to center yourself, and you need to be prepared to feel whatever comes up when you're asking yourself these questions, and then you need to write down your answers. So I'm just going to get straight into it and give you question number one, okay? You can type this, you can write this, however you want to answer it. Question number one is, who do you fear that you are? Who do you fear that you are? Now, I'm going to give you JP's example because I think it was a really good one, and it's a fairly easy one to work with. So, JP is actually about my height, about 5'7", and his dad, who also was called JP, is about 6'5". So he was always called Little John, and his dad was called Big John. So he had this idea in his head: oh, I'm little, I'm small. And what he did during his youth is he tried to compensate for this. So he learnt martial arts, he learnt to be strong, he learnt to fight. And then as he got older, he thought, well, okay, I need to make money now, I need to prove myself, I need to become an entrepreneur, etc., etc. But he was being driven by this belief that he had within himself: oh, I'm small. The second question to answer, when you've written enough for the first one, it took me quite a long time to fill out the first one, is, I've got it written down here: who do you think you should or need to be in order to be loved or accepted? Who do you think you should or need to be in order to be loved and accepted? So the way that JP communicates this is the image of a coin with two sides. Like, the underside is the beliefs you have about yourself as non-useful beliefs. The top side are the sort of behaviors and mechanisms that you use to compensate for those beliefs. And neither of those things, certainly from my perspective, were even in my conscious awareness. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my experience of doing this. It took me quite a while to get into answering the first question. And the reason is that we don't really like to think very much about the negatives. We don't want to dwell on the negatives a lot. We're taught as a culture, and I totally understand why this happens, that the negatives is something you shouldn't really dwell on, focus on the positive. And also, you may have done a lot of work on yourself. You may also, you may feel, why am I still thinking this stuff? Like, I haven't thought about this since I was, a lot younger. So that's kind of why we do that question first. Oh yes, so yeah, get back to, I lost my thread there. When I did this, I found it quite difficult to answer the first question. I found it slightly easier as I went through, and then when I answered the second question, I realised, oh, hold on a minute, there are these coping mechanisms that I have. But I actually had a little bit of a gap of about 24 hours before I answered the second question. And it came to me in a kind of eureka moment, which really was kind of mind-blowing, that, like JP, I had been run almost by these negative beliefs and my compensating tactics, and it kind of led me to make decisions in my life which I thought were completely rational and were, good for me. And then when I had this eureka moment, I realized, oh, hold on a minute, I am being driven by these unconscious beliefs and coping mechanisms. And is that really what I want for myself? Is that really what I want for my life? So it was quite sobering. And that's really why I'm sharing it. One of the things I would have mentioned right at the beginning, if I'd remembered, is that it might be a good idea to read the Medium article that I posted before you do this exercise. It will give you an idea of where it comes from and why it's important. So good luck with it. I hope you get a lot from it. And just to remind you, there is a second part to this, and I'll make the second part of the video if you want me to make it, if you want to hear it. As I said right at the beginning, this process is based on love. And whilst at the beginning of the process it's important to get out some of the difficult stuff, that needs to be done ultimately in the context of love and acceptance, because we're going to love and accept every part of ourselves, even the bits we didn't know we were there, and even the bits that we're not that happy about. So, good luck with it. Let me know how it goes. You can let me know in the comments. You can contact me directly via Unschooled Coaching on Instagram or Facebook. Enjoy.